Hello, friends. I'm here with Maui, my squishmallow. He's a pineapple. So, if you're wondering what's up with that, that's him. Welcome to June's Week 3 Vibecast. This is for Monday, June 13th through Sunday, June 19th. Firstly, Mercury enters Gemini, which is great for everybody. There's also a full moon in Sagittarius, culminating and illuminating something for us. Venus squares Saturn, bringing in some sort of reality check, and much, much more. I did release content on rising sign, little mini rising sign horoscopes for Monday and Tuesday when Mercury enters Gemini and that full moon in Sag. So if you're interested in your rising sign horoscope, you can go ahead and look for that link in the description. So I am just going to breeze through Monday and Tuesday because I've already talked about that. Although we could probably all use the repetition. But yeah, check out those rising sign horoscopes if you're interested. So let's begin. Monday, June 13th, Mercury moves into Gemini. This is great news for all of us, especially for Gemini and Virgo risings. Like I said, I released those horoscopes, so check that out if you're interested in learning about your rising sign. I go in a little bit more detail about the whole beginning of the week. If you felt lost and confused in some way, Mercury and Gemini can bring big time clarity. So organization, communications can go a lot smoother, a lot more logically, especially after dealing with all that algol losing your head energy for the past couple weeks. It's a good time to have a talk you've been needing to have or waiting to have because you didn't want to do it while algol was so active, or for writing and speaking in general. So if you have a talk you have to give or if you have to write something, it's a good time for that. It's good for catching up on correspondence or organizing that you've been avoiding due to overwhelm. Can you tell that I'm filming this, recording this before Mercury enters Gemini? Anyway, technology will start to chill out finally. If you've been dealing with a lot of technology issues, gadgets should be working more efficiently than they have for the past few weeks. Traveling will also be a lot smoother and quicker with less issues, less delays. New information or news could be revealed or brought out into the open with Mercury entering Gemini. Vibes around brainstorming, sharing ideas, noticing lots of chatter with yourself or with other people. It's a good day to do any detailed work or any type of work with your hands. Mercury moving into Gemini for the final time in the retrograde cycle will feel like a positive completion and the beginning of something new. Topics from around April 30th or around May 21st could be revisited for a final time. Those are the previous days that Mercury was at this degree in the sky. Mercury risings, Gemini and Virgo risings, vitality will majorly improve, and both risings will feel way more like they're back at the helm of their ship, able to see and steer their lives easier. I would argue that's true for all the mutable signs. That's also Pisces and Sag. That Monday night, and technically the next morning on Tuesday, June 14th, the full moon at 23 degrees Sag can be seen in the sky, weather permitting, obviously. Full moons are a time of culmination, of completion, and then release. They express the peak, the height of something, the climax of a thing, and then its release and descent. Full moons are revealing, illuminating, shining a spotlight on something in your life. It can reveal things to you haven't seen before or things that you've been avoiding. The full moon in Sagittarius specifically can bring up opportunities to wholeheartedly express your feelings, opinions, beliefs, perspectives, as well as bring up opportunities for adventuring that ends up teaching you something and then shifting your perspective. A Sag moon can be so much fun and so lighthearted, and a time to do things you enjoy with people you have fun with, and also opportunities to go overboard and be extra and unnecessary. Though there is a sextile with Saturn coming through, so the overboard's pretty unlikely. There's still some questions that might need answering, and the answers are still cooking still. Neptune is square the full moon, so gotta chill out on that a little bit. Let's talk about the pros and cons real quick. Pros. It's a great time for expressing your truths and being authentic. We all like being real here. We do in this house. It can also be really fun and playful energy, good for hanging out with your friends, watching movies, playing games. It's a really good time to gracefully stand up for yourself if you are in need of that energy. The cons. There may be opportunities to react to desires or fears that are not based on the reality of the current situation. This full moon squares Neptune, which can definitely blow things out of proportion, make you tired, confused, foggy, hazy. So be aware of dramatics or the habit of letting your thoughts get away from you. Try not to fall into fantasy land and drown in the story that you weaved. Just, keep a grip on things. Neptune's there making things extreme. This full moon will be charged with passion and energy, so it's also a good opportunity to work with any full moon release rituals you have in your back pocket around Monday or Tuesday night. Full moons are often about release, so it's a good time to use the full moon magic to help you release anything that no longer serves your highest good. Check out those horoscopes I released for an example of a full moon release ritual if you need one. Moving on. A few hours later, on Tuesday, into the middle of the day, after the full moon, the moon moves into Capricorn. So this tells us that we will experience some form of culmination, climax, or release with the full moon, and then shortly thereafter, we'll be moving on to the next thing. The release will be quick. We will be easily able to move on and start working on solutions or being efficient. Although the mood may dampen considerably when the moon moves into Capricorn that evening, possibly feeling a little bit more heavy, a little more down to earth, hopefully not down in the dumps, down to earth, maybe feeling some harsh realities though. And around the same time, we have a very busy middle of the week. Mars is conjoining Chiron at 15 degrees Aries, and you or people around you may be starting to feel extra sensitive. This sensitivity is going to be strong until the morning of Wednesday, June 15th, when the conjunction exacts and Mars moves on from Chiron. So, what does this mean? Sensitivities, as in noticing some emotionally triggering energy. Some examples can include reconnecting with your physical body somehow, reconnecting with your assertion, painfully standing up for yourself, or really wanting a thing that might end up hurting someone else in some way. Many different options for this transit. And the last time this transit happened was around July 13th of 2020. So you can look back to your journal or your calendar to see what was going on for you around that time to get an idea of what to expect this time. Chiron does not necessarily indicate physical triggers, like something physically traumatic happening to you, so there's no need to be on alert, though Mars does bring a bit of physical energy into the mix. So vitality and energies in general may be lower than usual. You may want to rest. Don't beat yourself up. The other part of the Chiron story, besides sensitivities or emotional triggers, is teaching and learning. So mentee-mentor dynamics. You might find yourself in a position as a mentor for someone who's going through something that you've been through before, and find that you have the wisdom and the guidance to validate them in a way that you wish you were validated in the past. Classic Chiron. It's also a great time to get in contact with your therapist or your mentor, or maybe you find yourself in a mentee dynamic somehow. Overall, these sensitivities and triggers that are coming up for you around the beginning of the week are revealing themselves to be worked on and worked through. Getting through another chapter of the Chiron and Aries story that began in April of 2018. If you find yourself struggling with this transit, which I kind of doubt you will, but remember you can light a candle for yourself to help yourself feel peace and guidance. The candle my candle obsession. This is because the candle solidifies communicating your intention to feel better. The intention is important, especially with Mars involved. So this transit in general can require a lot of humility, a lot of self-love, and I don't mean that in a gushy way. I mean that in a way that honors your inner child, the little 5-year-old version of yourself that still lives inside you, that deserves sweet, gentle kindness. Remember them this week. So it's a pretty busy middle of the week. The rest of the day on Wednesday, June 15th, we'll be feeling multiple other aspects that will pass early the next day on Thursday, June 16th. So we have a busy Wednesday, Thursday. Firstly, the Sun in Gemini will trine Saturn retrograde at 25 degrees Aquarius. This is a very positive contact with Saturn that allows for opportunities for you to check in with yourself and your identity. Are you expressing your truth and your real desires? Are there ways you could be more authentic to yourself? Are you being consistent, prioritizing the things that are important to you? Although sometimes it feels like we have to, we do not need to take things on out of a sense of guilt or fear. This is also an aspect speaking to long-term goals, permanence, making things real, solid, working towards something of substance, not just a quick one-off thing. Thinking about sustenance and future goal setting. It's a good time to make an agreement about a long-term plan or commitment. What do you want to be proud of 10 years from now? Saturn and the Sun together speak on that and on legacy. It also speaks on time management. Saturn is the planet of time. You may be faced with events that ask you to reevaluate your priorities. Are you choosing responsibilities and duties in a way that is most authentic to you and your future plans? Saturn will ask you how you're allocating your time and your energy, enforcing realistic choices and sustainable commitments, asking you to be consistent and to find ways to be more authentic. This aspect could also be about finalizing something in a formal and binding way. At the same time, we have Venus conjoining the North Node at 22 degrees Taurus. And whenever the North Node is involved, there's some sort of insatiable hunger that comes up. This is super strengthened when it conjoins Venus, who also has a bit of hunger. So you could be feeling like you want to have more of something, more to hold, more to possess, more to own. With Venus and Taurus, the transit speaks to craving more nature time, more luxury, more food, more time in your garden, a craving for more environmental awareness, possibly. The insatiable need for sweetness, for pleasure, for physical affection, not necessarily sexual, just intimate, wanting to feel comfortable touch or massage, even just friendly. Longing, yearning, these are all themes for Venus in the North Node. Maybe cravings for more things, more clothing, more space. With the nodes involved, there's always a likelihood of imbalance, for overdoing it, for excess, going past a limit of some kind. It's a good time to purchase or upgrade or go for a thing that you've been wanting for a long time, but just be aware of going overboard. The timing for going overboard is primo. Sometimes in these situations, we think that once I get blank, once I get whatever, then I'll feel better. Then I'll be cooler. Then I'll be more like myself. Then I'll be on the right track, etc. But in this case, with the North Node, there is never enough. So keep that in mind. And a bit later in the morning on Thursday, June 16th, the Sun in Gemini squares Neptune. The Sun exacts its square with Neptune at 25 degrees Pisces. So we felt a little bit of this with the full moon, and this brings in some majorly fantastical and creative energy into the mix. A really good transit for brainstorming creative ideas, creating art, or working on projects, or losing yourself in some sort of fantasy or escape. It's a great time to do anything with the occult or with divination, a great time to lose yourself in some book, game, movie, or show. It's rich with imagination, which is great for coming up with new creative solutions or for some perspective changes if you're in need of that. You may be noticing high and low energy swings with Neptune, though most of the time it just makes you sleepy. Neptune also brings an energy that's ungrounded and unclear. So we have this fantastical creative energy, but obviously that can be difficult for making decisions based on logic. So although there is escapey, dreamy imaginativeness, it's not very clarified. It may be a time when you dissociate or let go of something, which can be good if you need space from it. I'm not a dissociation hater. It can be unfocused, this transit, with scattered energy, so probably not very productive. Don't expect a very productive day. Again, you might be feeling some tired energy or low energy, so try to reduce any pressures or obligations you have. Take a load off in some way. Neptune in Pisces also brings an energy around inspiration and faith or hope. You could be finding yourself hoping that something is real and true, and then dealing with disappointment when it actually isn't real or true. The energy is foggy, confusing, hazy, or uncertain. After Thursday, you should be getting a lot clearer on something, especially something related to the full moon, because that was the first contact we felt from the beginning of the week. Maybe some clarification around questions that came up during the full moon. Water can be really important with Neptune transits, so make sure you're drinking enough water, make sure you're staying hydrated with eating fruits and vegetables. Spend time near or around water, a pool, a lake, a river, the ocean, taking a bath, or if you don't have a bath, like me, taking a long shower. The water can be very clarifying to be around during this transit, so honor that. The last thing I want to mention about this transit is that dream life could be extra wild or informative around this day. This could be also a beneficial couple days to microdose mushrooms, allowing for some new awareness or perspectives to come through and assist in rewiring some of your thought patterns that might need shifting. So later in the day, on Thursday, June 16th, yes, we are still in the middle of the week, the moon enters Aquarius. This can definitely lighten the mood a bit and allow you to take a step back and see a bigger picture. We put on our lab coat and our research goggles and start to figure some things out. Whether or not it's relevant to the problem at hand, we're going to figure some things out. It can dissociate you enough to keep you busy, but not to feel too heavy or burdened or sad. And we get a little bit of a break on Friday. Though on Saturday, June 18th, we might experience a bump in the road when Venus in Taurus squares Saturn at 25 degrees Aquarius. Venus square Saturn brings in a reality check. Maybe feeling stuck between a rock and a hard place. The issue that comes up with this transit will allow you to see a new level of clarity in your relationships, making you see things the way that they truly are, and to see what's really going on between you and someone else. This can be romantic, it can be familial, it can be friendships, any form of relationship. Both planets are in their home sign of Saturn in Aquarius and Venus in Taurus, so there's this sense of conviction, a sense of feeling worthy or deserving of what is needed in the agreement. You may be having to negotiate agreements again, clarify expectations, get clear about what is and isn't working in a situation. This is not about blame. This is about for just seeing it for what it is, seeing the truth. And as one of my favorite teachers says, Kelly Surtees, she likes to call it the pleasure denied or delayed aspect. So it's about the work before the reward and before the enjoyment. Putting in effort to keep a commitment to someone else or to show your loyalty. This aspect is not easy, but it is important. Saturn is about the necessary things, the basics, the core principles, and your straightforward priorities. And this is a square. So this is talking about making a choice. With Venus and Saturn, it's important to choose in a way that authentically honors who and what you value and what you truly want to prioritize. We may have to make a choice that we're well aware has consequences that ripple through our lives. We know this choice will affect our future in some way, and it can be a tough choice, but it's necessary. And as I said earlier, this choice can leave you feeling stuck between a rock and a hard place, between the hard place of duty and the rock of desire. Things to consider with this transit. What is it that you truly want to prioritize? Duty and commitment, or desire and pleasure? Both have their uses and places. One is not better than the other. They all have, like I said, their uses. We may not be getting everything we want during this transit, but we do get all the clarity about alliances and about our truest priorities. People with planets or points around 25 degrees of the fixed signs, that's Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, and Aquarius, will be noticing this the most. And a bit later on Saturday, June 18th, things could get a little bit more emotional or bring up opportunities for you to connect deeper with your emotion. The moon enters Pisces, which pushes you to connect more with your emotions and your spirit. A good opportunity to let go and escape in something safe and comfortable. Maybe some fears or doubts begin to pop up, but this is just a part of the process, and the moon is helping you flow through it. Late that night, we get a little bit more assistance when Venus in Taurus sextiles Neptune at 25 degrees Pisces. So the confusion around this choice or negotiation gets a little sweetened up. Connections are made and perspectives are still shifting. In comes some gentleness, some flow, some affection. And then on Sunday, June 19th, we'll be experiencing that flow of Pisces moon, which is also feeling a bit of an aspect that exacts early in the morning of Monday, June 20th. That's when Mercury in Gemini sextiles Jupiter at 6 degrees of Aries. So this is more solution-oriented energy with some good luck sprinkled in. Being able to zoom out, see the big picture, while also discerning details from the past few days, dialing things in, processing the new information. You could possibly hear or share some good or uplifting news, or have good conversations with people. It's also a great time to travel. So if you're traveling on Sunday, expect it to go smoothly. It allows for a less heavy ending to the week at the very least. So that's week 3 of June. Whew, that was a big one. Mercury enters Gemini. Good news for everybody. There's a full moon in Sag, culminating, illuminating something for us, and a much more serious Venus square Saturn, pushing us to make more authentic choices and reevaluate our priorities. Are you expecting anything to come up this week? Please let me know in the comments. We want to hear from you. If you want vibe support, or if you just want to chat about the astrology or any other form of divination like tarot with me or with other hella cool people, you can join the 9th House Discord. The link to join is in the description. I am endlessly thankful for your support and for you being here. Thank you again. Have an amazing week. I will see you next time. Bye.